Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Jersey Economic Development Authority's Women's History Month discussion. Today's discussion will be an intimate conversation with women-owned business leaders throughout our state, underscoring their contributions and bringing light to the challenges women entrepreneurs face. But most importantly, thinking about ways we can overcome these different challenges. My name is Medinah Muhammad, and I am the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs here at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and thank you for joining us. To start today's event, let me introduce our moderator for this conversation. She hails from the city of East Orange, representing New Jersey's 34th Legislative District, currently comprised of East Orange, Orange, Montclair, and Clifton. She serves as the chair of the New Jersey General Assembly's Commerce and Economic Development Committee. She's a mom, she's a wife, an advocate, and a leader. Please join me in welcoming Assemblywoman Britnee Timberlake, our moderator for today's conversation. Assemblywoman, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. Are you going to do more introductions, perhaps with Tim Sullivan, or should I introduce him?
Sure. Sure.
I want to thank you for putting this together for women. We have a dynamic group of women today who are going to be talking about what it takes to be a small business owner, talking about challenges they've been able to overcome, and each of them has been able to benefit from New Jersey EDA's programming grants. And before we get to a dynamic for a group of women, we're going to introduce Tim Sullivan, who has been a leader at NJEDA since 2018. And under his leadership, he has led the development and implementation of more than 15 programs created under the Economic Recovery Act of 2020. He's provided more than $700 million in COVID-19 relief to small businesses impacted by the pandemic. He's facilitated the construction of the New Jersey wind port and growth of a robust offshore wind industry. He's collaborated with partners in the private sector to grow New Jersey's innovative ecosystem and help so many municipalities revitalize brownfields and other underused spaces to be used as valuable community assets. And we know that as we sit here as citizens of the world on this great globe, that climate change is one of the most pressing concerns for all of us as human beings, and it really has interconnected us in ways that we have to look at and deal with. So Tim, thank you so much for your leadership and what you have done for small businesses throughout our state, and then also what you have done on the forefront of climate change to combat that. Tim?
Thank you very much, Assemblywoman and Chairwoman. Honored to be with you, and thank you for taking the time. Also honored to be with the four business owners that we're going to hear from in a few minutes. An extraordinary group of folks with great stories to tell. And my job, it is Women's History Month, is not here to hear from me. You're here to hear from the women who are making history in New Jersey every single day with their business leadership. So I'll be real brief. Again, just want to thank the chair and the Assemblywoman for her leadership and everything she does in the Assembly, and the great partnership we have with her and her team to bring so many of these resources to bear. Under Governor Murphy's leadership these last 5+ years, we have made a real commitment at the EDA to broadening and deepening how we engage with small businesses, and to really putting an extremely significant focus on equity and inclusion in all of our programs. And the four women you're going to hear from are great examples of that. There are many, many more. Thankfully, the good news is this is a bit of a trend. We've under this, particularly in our small business programs, the governor has put forward several $100 million of state appropriations in the last several budgets, including the budget just proposed a couple of weeks ago to support small businesses. Really, not so much. The Assemblywoman mentioned the COVID relief we did. That was really important just to help keep businesses afloat. But you're going to hear from folks who have been in some of what, for lack of a better word, our peacetime programs to help businesses recover and get on their front foot and make investments in their businesses. Because we know, COVID did not create the inequalities and the discrepancies and disparities that are rampant in our economy. It made them worse, and it made them really evident. And so one of the things that's our mission here at the EDA and the governor's charge and in partnership with the legislature is to provide resources, not just to some people, but to everybody, and particularly with a really heavy focus on making sure that women, people of color, women of color, veterans, the LGBTQ community, immigrant-owned businesses have an equal shot at getting some of these resources that have been made available. By no means are we ready to declare mission accomplished, but we're really proud of the progress we've made. We got a hell of a lot more to do. Forums like this, where we hear the success stories from the great women business owners we're going to hear from in a couple of minutes, are a great opportunity to do that and celebrate Women's History Month the right way, which is talking about progress and the opportunities that lay in front of us. Because, you know, supporting women-owned small businesses, women-owned businesses, yeah, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do from a justice and an equity perspective. It's also the smart thing to do. These are folks who are going to build great businesses, create prosperity, employ a lot of people, create vitality in our communities. And so again, yeah, yes, it's the right thing to do, but it's sure as hell the smart thing to do as well. And so that's why we're working really hard on it. And again, the resources that the legislature and the chairwoman provide to us to do so under the governor's leadership make it possible for us to do that. So with that, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do, which is sit back and listen and learn. And I know we're going to hear from the Congresswoman in a moment, and then back to the chairwoman to hear from the business owners. So thanks for having me. I appreciate the chance to be with y'all.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for those remarks. You know, it's powerful to know that we have leadership at NJEDA that is driven and supportive from our executive board, our staff, our team members here that work day in and day out to support the mission of the governor, Phil Murphy, and in growing our state's economy, all the while increasing equitable access to opportunity. So thank you, Tim. Thanks for those remarks. Up next, we will have a video presentation from Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill. Hailing from New Jersey's 11th Congressional District, Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill, a former U.S. Navy helicopter pilot, an attorney, and a former federal prosecutor, has worked tirelessly to advocate for the support of women-owned businesses throughout our state and nationwide. She's not able to join us live today. However, she sent over some remarks in support of today's conversation. So join me in as we tune into those remarks.
Hi everyone, this is Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill, and thank you so much to NJEDA for hosting this conversation on women-owned small businesses and inviting me to speak today. This is really a critical point to our business community. So many women have struggled throughout the pandemic with childcare issues, myself included. In fact, my in-laws moved in with us for some time so we could meet some of our childcare needs. It has truly been a struggle, which is why I'm working to address that in Congress with legislation to support that. I know much of the money we pushed into New Jersey through the pandemic, the governor is now using to fund some initiatives for childcare. We will continue to work hard to support women in business. And I really look forward to partnering with the NJEDA as they come forward with new opportunities and ideas on how we best do that. So thanks so much. Thank you for hosting the conversation, and look forward to seeing you all soon.
And thanks again to Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill for those remarks. We really appreciate you in supporting this conversation and for all the work that you're doing down there in Washington, D.C., fighting for women, fighting for our nation. So we really appreciate that. And now I'm going to turn the conversation over to our moderator so we can get started. This is so important, and I really want to spend a lot of time on hearing from the business owners that are here today. So Assemblywoman Timberlake, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you again for putting this together, Medinah. So we have 4 dynamic lady business owners who are all leading companies and meeting the need of their customers. And they have created, each and every single one of them, very unique business models to provide services that we're all familiar with. We're going to hear from a florist who is more than just your average florist. This is a person who actually works with live plants and goes into spaces to help with gardening and creating flower boxes and creating just that serene scene that you need, that only flowers can create. And myself being a big lover of flowers, I can certainly appreciate that. And that is no other Then Nancy Burton, who also started the business with Eileen Rico, called In the Garden LLC. Then we are going to be hearing from The Village, which is the name of the company. It's been founded by Dana Kadesh, who has created a beautiful space to be able to take your children to, where they can actually learn and open play in a clean, safe, and chic environment while having a cup of coffee. And they can have a choose from a different array of development focused mommy and me, toddler drop-off classes, all kinds of different opportunities. And I appreciate about her business too is that it's non-toxic and sustainable and quality toys that she's used and has thoughtfully curated each and every single section of her business made specific for the children. Me, as a mom with 3 little ones under the age of 5 at home, I can tell you this is certainly something that is needed. Then we have Clean Space Zen, owned by Christine Daughtry, and that is a residential and commercial cleaning business. And her business really has been focusing on the fact that no one person can do it all. And I know it's Women's History Month, and I know women, I believe that we struggle with this the most. We try to do it all. And what Christine is saying is, call me. You don't have to do it. You can come home when your bed will be made and you will have a gleaming kitchen. You'll have a sigh of relief and contentment whenever you see, the fresh, clean services that they're able to provide. And again, the cleaning products that they use are environmentally safe. So we know that this is something that is incredibly important. And then there is Decor by Liz, so owned by Miss Lizette Morel. And she has making and transforming spaces into beautiful venues through her expertise. I truly believe that this is a form of art. She has over 15 years of experience, and she says her main goal is to make sure that you're 100% satisfied with the service, and they provide expert advice on planning weddings, receptions, baby showers, birthdays, corporate events, including decorating. So sometimes you might want to have a big ceremony, you have to get a planner and a decorator. Well, with Liz's business, she has combined those 2 things, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I'd like to turn the microphone over. We'll start with Miss Nancy Burton, if she'd like to say a few words about her business In the Garden.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry that I was not able to join you with a video, but please look us up online. You'll see plenty of photos of myself and my partner, Eileen Rico, www.inthegardennj.com. I have been in business with my brick and mortar store for 18 years in the wonderful borough of Highlands, New Jersey, www.highlandsnj.com. And as mentioned, we had to become quite creative with our business, not only before, during, and after COVID, but as we grow and try to become more profitable. So we have many windows of opportunity with horticulture that we take care of: fresh cut flower design, going on the road, gardening, container design, interior plants for commercial residences and for commercial properties and residences. But you can learn a lot about us online, and I'm very happy to be here today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We're happy that you are here with us. Now we'll go over to Dana from The Village.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you all so much for hosting this. This is so important as a woman I really value the support, especially being able to come together and just to discuss the various challenges and how we have overcome them. The village is a children's play-based cafe, learning center, and party space, but ultimately the real goal of the village is to create a community. And the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and we all know that is very true. Children are at the heart of our community. They are our future, and we also need that support as we raise our children, correct? So that's what the village is all about. So I love the idea of community coming together, supporting one another, listening to one another, getting ideas, and hopefully inspiring each other as women of color is so important. My business partner and I come from, we're both immigrant women. We both have, amongst us, we have 5 children. And at the same time, we're building this business in order to ensure that not the village is something we have in Edgewater, but we're also building it in Fort Lee as well. And I can't tell you the number of messages that I get from moms that just say, and even dads that say, we need this in our community. So thank you all so much for the support, for the inspiration. And I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Thank you so much, Dana. That's really nice. Now we're going to move to Christine from Clean Space Zen.
Hi, thanks for having me today. I'm very excited to hear from the other business owners. It's definitely not something that I, get to deal with a lot of other business owners, especially women. So that's definitely, a breath of fresh air for me today. So I developed this cleaning company. I was in a corporate environment for 30 years. And when my company was bought out, I was their art director. So when the company was bought out, I gave a lot of thought to what to do next. And I decided on the cleaning company, but I wanted to do it very differently. Obviously, I wanted it to be very green, for people who suffer migraines or, have skin conditions. And I wanted it to be more than, something that was just greenwashed. So we really know and understand our products and the products that are going into people's homes. And I also just wanted something that, supports women. As much as the world has changed, and it has, I think I'm probably the oldest one here. I still get calls every week from women who are embarrassed or reluctant to ask for that help, to ask for the help that they need. When you're working a full-time job or you have a business, you can't do everything. And in some, in a lot of ways, it still seems that women are expected to do everything, to be able to get to everything. When women call me and feel not good about asking for help, that's why we wanted to make it very zen. Something that's not, I don't want people to feel stressed about having a cleaning company come in their house. We're a partner to you, we're helping you. And on the other end, we employ a lot of women, and these are women who also have children, they have their own difficulties. They have their own, the kind of support that they need is, different than maybe the woman who's hiring a cleaning company. So it's nice to be able to kind of support people, support women at all these different levels, and have this much to do with women with children, and just, like I said before, as much as the world has changed, a lot of it's still the same. And, as women, we do a lot more. So it's nice to be able to offer help to everyone. So that's what we ended up doing. And that's kind of the philosophy behind Clean Space Zen. And we're based out of Marlton, New Jersey, and we take care of mostly South Jersey.
That's wonderful. I need you to also take care of North Jersey so we can call you. Can we move now to Miss Lizette from Decor by Liz?
Hi, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm not really well today, but I'm so happy to be here with you guys today. My business is all my life. I'm just starting, like you say, like 15, more than 15 years doing decoration. The beginning, I do it for my family, for my friends, and then my passion, was to move on and go out and open my own business. So on the 2018, I just opened my first place, which was very small. And 1 year after, it was growing so fast. And then I moved it to the second location, a little bit bigger. And I go like everywhere to do baby shower, wedding. I'm an event planner also. And last year, I finally had my dream come true, and I opened my own venue in Bayonne. So I'm being so thankful with you guys because supporting my business, and without your help, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm so happy because I can help another women, with my story, how I begin, and we can do it. So no matter what we have it on the road, I'm a Dominican. I speak Spanish, and that was one of the trouble for me to work with different kind of the people in this country. But because I have faith and I love what I do and passion, I said myself, I had to do it. Even I don't say right, I continue, trying and trying. And today I'm so thankful because I have my dream come true and I keep moving. And I'm so happy to be here sharing my story with you guys.
That's wonderful. So that's so great, Lizette. So I'm going to ask a series of questions, and anyone who would like to jump in and answer the question, please do so. So becoming an entrepreneur isn't a path that everyone chooses. So what inspired you to decide to take this path? Did you always know you wanted to own a business? And then, of course, as a woman, what are the barriers that came with choosing that path? Open to anyone. I see Dana.
Yeah, I'm ready to answer this question. So I have an interesting background. So I was a teacher for 7 years. I have a master's in special education and educational leadership. And like I mentioned before, I come from a Middle Eastern background. I'm an immigrant, and so it's that I guess I always thought I was on a straight path, and it's kind of expected after becoming a teacher, then maybe you'd be a vice principal and go into administration. But being a teacher, you're taught to really serve your students, serve your families, and serve your community. And living here in Edgewater, I had my daughter, and we would get together with other moms, and we would find each other maybe in Dunkin' Donuts, and then even like on the floor of Home Goods, just playing with whatever was available and causing a wreck. And so we realized that what we really needed was a village. And so, being that I was a teacher and I was always taught that you should serve, I felt the need that we needed to serve our community. We needed to serve our children. And so the idea of the village was born. I never, ever in a million years would see myself as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, but seeing how you can serve your community. And then, obviously, so we had opened our business, The Village, in December of 2019. So we were open for 3 months. And again, I was very hesitant because I don't come from a business background. I'm an educator, and so it was nerve-wracking for me. It was so scary. I had taken on this lease. We put in all this money for the space, but we really believed in the concept. And once we closed with COVID for 3 months, it was scary because we couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we didn't want to take on debt, paying rent. We wanted to maintain our team, and so it was just a very scary time. But at the same time, we thought about it. How was the village born? Well, this village was born based off of a need that we saw as parents, as moms, and then what do we need now? And so we started developing our business with the help of the NJEDA. And we thank you guys for the financial support too, because we were able to build certain parts of our business and pivot. So we were able to have we did curbside pickup for toys, even coffee. We started doing private play dates, and we started really tiny small group instruction. And so ultimately, when you think of your community, you can create a business based off of that and really serve your community. So that's how I kind of ended up as an entrepreneur. It was born out of a need.
That's wonderful, Dina, and way to pivot for sure during the pandemic. Would anyone else like to take a shot at the question? What inspired you to decide to take this path, and what are some barriers that you were able to overcome that are very specific to women? Okay, so my next question is, as a woman in business, what would you say are the greatest challenges that you have had to face? And I know that Dina also mentioned some of the EDA programs to help you grow. We wanted to know how that was going and if they've been helpful to you.
So I guess I could take this one. So
Yes.
what the EDA grant did for us, we were able to expand this year. So we started business a few years before the pandemic. And then, of course, when that hit, the fact that we're going into people's homes, we were shut down for a few months. And like Dana, when you were shut down for that time, I also didn't have a business background. So, it's a lot of worry. It's a lot of, questioning what you're going to be able to do. Are you going to be able to come out of this? What are you going to do next? So just to have a little bit of that support from the NJEDA, we were able to go ahead and kind of on faith, get a little bit bigger office, have a nicer space, be able to bring some more people on, with the idea that we are going to survive the pandemic as a business. We're going to survive it, and we will be able to grow and get stronger. And that is what we have done. But without that support, that would have been, maybe, we would have still been able to do all of that. But it becomes a very big question at that point when you don't have that kind of support.
Yeah, for sure. And I know some of you on the call received the EDA Small Business Lease Grant, which you mentioned expanding in space, and also the Small Business Improvement Grants. My next question is, it's been cited that mentorship is a leading way to enable businesses to grow. Do you have a mentor? And if so, how have you benefited from that mentorship?
I have my hand raised. I'm sorry, my camera is not on. But
yeah, go for it, Nancy.
It's Nancy from Highlands. Just going back to your first question about how we got into entrepreneurship, I've always known that I wanted to own my own business, which will bring me to my mentor in just a moment. But since I was a young girl, I always played imaginary businesses. I would teach people how to do things, cooking shows, gardening, what have you. I'm sure we've all done things like that before. I then went to study. I worked at Disney World for retail for a while, which was lovely. I loved customer service. And then I went to study at the New York Botanical Garden for horticulture. And people would say to me, what did I want to do with this degree? And I would say I would like to go home and open a retail store. And people would think, why do you want to do that? And downtowns, small towns and downtown districts were always really important to me. I live in a wonderful town. I was born and raised here. So when it became time for me to decide what to do with my horticulture experience at the New York Botanical Garden, I knew that I could turn to the Highlands Business Partnership Office here in the borough of Highlands, which at the time was run by a wonderful female business owner, Carla Cefalo Braswell, who currently is not our president anymore, but she is still involved. And from Carla, I learned a lot about opening a business and negotiating. We were able to negotiate a wonderful lease for my first landlord. And she also pointed me in the direction of many small business development offices throughout our state and county, and she still does that to this day. So I took from her what I learned. I still use many of her tips every day, and then I also really pride myself in how I continue to help young people open businesses or follow through with their dreams. So she was a great mentor to me for how to open a business and to really take that plunge. And I like to pride myself on continuing to do that for others. Thank you.
That is wonderful. She sounds like an amazing person and mentor. Ladies, do you have any mentors, Lizette or Dana or Christine?
I wish I did. And I think I saw that you guys offer a mentorship. So I'm definitely interested in learning more about that. But yeah, I think that's super valuable.
And even if you don't have a formal mentor, is there anyone that has inspired you that you've learned from? I've had mentors sometimes where maybe we weren't on the phone every week or every month, but I was able to learn from watching them, even if it was from afar.
Yeah, so my mom actually, she was an immigrant. She had four kids, and she raised us. And then once we finally graduated college, she said, I've always had this dream of being of owning a dress boutique. And so at the age of like 50, she opened her own business, and I watched her do it from scratch. And her English is not even the best, and she was able to just learn how to open a business on her own. So she was definitely a huge source of inspiration for me, and somebody I obviously can watch day to day. So that was an awesome. She's just a huge inspiration. So.
That's so wonderful. Yes. Shout out to all the moms.
Mm-hmm.
That's
if I could just, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure, Dana.
It's Nancy from In the Garden. I do just need to mention that my father owned his own business for 52 years in Red Bank. And it was funny, when I told him that I wanted to open my own business, he would say, "Oh, sweetheart, I always hoped you wouldn't want to be an entrepreneur," because it's so stressful. And, but he was very proud of me and our success. He passed away about 2 years ago, but just a funny take on what, he knew what went into it, and I was not batting down. That was what I was going to do.
Yeah. Well, God bless his memory, and shout out to the men who support women and give us advice as well. And your story about your father leads me into my next question, because he knew how hard it was to be an entrepreneur. He knew the stress that it is. You're not waiting for a 2-week paycheck cycle. You have to make it happen, and nobody's coming to save you. You have to get out there every single day and, make money, get customers, and think of, business models. And it is a great mantle to have. And having been an entrepreneur myself, I certainly understand that. But for the women who are on the verge of giving up and closing their businesses that may be watching today, what advice would you give them? I once read a statistic a long time ago that said women are starting businesses at rapid rates more than men, but they were also closing businesses at rapid rates more than men. What advice would you give to someone who is closing their businesses?
I
or
would
on the verge of
actually,
doing so?
if I could say what I think about that, because I think any of us, especially, Dana and Lizette, we've come from places where we, don't necessarily have a business background, which, adds a layer of stress. But what I would say to anyone who's kind of on the verge of giving up, I would say, in all honesty, get a good night's rest. Because I think we all have that voice that sometimes, that very critical voice, and it's very hard to kind of turn that voice off in our heads. That self-critical thing, or, whether we just have a little bit of imposter syndrome. So I would say, if, you're on the verge of giving up, if you've, maybe not had a chance to look at things from an even playing field, get some rest, get a good night's rest, and you'll see things differently the next morning.
That's great advice. Great advice. Any other ladies?
I think it's all about thinking outside the box. And I think that when I look back on our first year and on a number of other challenges that we've faced and as we've learned and grown, the thing that I kind of realized from looking back is that there are so many opportunities, and it's just a matter of thinking differently and pivoting. I think pivoting is key, and you can gain inspiration from your community. What does your community need? What do your customers need? And you don't have to fit yourself in the box that you've always been in. And so with just the kind of, and you can team up with different people. You can, get some team members that might inspire you or might help you think differently, right? Think outside the box. I don't know TikTok, but, I'm not that young. And so, we have some great team members and they'll bring their talents. You don't know everything. There's no way you're going to know everything, and you don't have the answers to everything, but you can build a team that can help you get there. And there's always opportunity when you look outside the box.
That's wonderful, Dana. I like that. Look outside the box. Anyone else have anything to add to that question? Okay, well, I thank you all so much for joining us today. You've been fantastic. You certainly are inspirational, and I'm so glad that you not only were able to weather the storm of the pandemic, but that you're providing great services here in the state of New Jersey. And as the chairperson of the Commerce and Economic Development Committee, I absolutely commend you because I know how difficult it can be to keep those doors open. And I want to tell anyone who is watching that, as stated before, each of these businesses were able to secure a grant from the New Jersey EDA. And if you visit www.njeda.com, that is EDA.com, you can find a list of opportunities and grants and loans also even to be able to apply for. So thank you so much, Medinah, and I'll turn this back over to you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman, and thank you to each of our panelists for being here, for joining this amazing conversation. I hope that your words inspire someone who was listening, some business owner, some woman-owned business owner, to keep going. So I appreciate each of you for being here. Thank you, Assemblywoman, for moderating this conversation, and continue in your great work, and we appreciate you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Women's
Thank
History
you.
Month.
Thank you.